This is the All Powers S2000 portable power station, and I've been using it for about 8 months across camping weekends, a couple of short power outages at home, and as a rolling power hub in my garage. From my experience, this thing delivers serious wattage, charges fast in the right conditions, and can run almost anything I throw at it. But it also comes with quirks that you should know before buying. Key features that matter to me start with the 1500 watt-hours battery and a pure sine wave inverter rated at 2000 watts continuous with 4000 watt surge. In simple terms, watt-hours tell you the size of the battery tank. 1500 watt-hours is plenty for a day of mixed use or a night of heavier draws. The inverter turns the battery's DC power into the same kind of AC power your wall outlets use, and pure sine wave means it's safe for sensitive electronics like laptops and TVs. The 4 AC outlets are upside down on purpose, which sounds odd, but it actually keeps cords from blocking the screen. I also use the 2 USB-C PD ports regularly. With my 16-inch laptop, I see up to 100 watts on one USB-C port. The second port shares power depending on what else is plugged in. The 4 USB-A ports handle phones, headlamps, and random gadgets just fine. The 12-volt car socket is handy for a portable fridge and an inflator. Charging flexibility is where the S2000 earns its keep. Over AC, mine pulls about 380 to 400 watts and goes from near empty to full in roughly 4 to 5 hours. The fans spin up almost immediately, and they are loud. Think powerful laptop fans or a small desk fan on high. Solar charging is more interesting. The built-in MPPT controller, that's a smarter solar charger that tracks the best voltage/current point for the panels, accepts a wide 12 to 70 volts input up to 500 watts. With two 200-watt folding panels in series, I typically see 300 to 380 watt midday in good sun. On a clear summer day, I've charged it in around 4 hours purely on solar. The party trick is combining AC and solar. When I add AC and the panels together, I get close to 900 watt total input, and that slashes the recharge time to under 2 hours. In my opinion, fast top-ups are the reason you buy this model over others in the same price bracket. Real-world power has been solid. It ran a 1500-watt space heater for short bursts when I was working in the garage in winter. It handled my microwave labeled 1100 watts without tripping. It powered a full-size fridge during a 2-hour outage. The compressor surge didn't phase it, and the wattage spikes you see on the screen give you confidence the inverter can take the hit. It brewed coffee in the camper and even managed a hairdryer on low to medium. I've used a miter saw on and off for trim work. The brief surges feel well within its 4000 watt headroom. The numbers on paper match how it behaves under load, and that's the strongest part of the S2000 story. There are trade-offs. The fans, as I said, are noticeable. During AC charging or any heavier AC load, they can be distracting in a quiet room. I ended up charging it in a hallway or near a door to keep the noise out of the living space. Build feel is another point. It's not that anything broke on me, but the plastic shell doesn't feel premium. The upside is the weight stays around 32 pounds, which is manageable for moving in and out of a car, but it doesn't scream rugged. The handles are comfortable to grab, yet stick up enough that you can't use the top as a flat shelf. The included weather-resistant cover is a nice touch for keeping dust off between trips. Battery performance over time has been mixed. When I measure energy coming out, I usually get around 1000 to 1100 hours usable through the AC outlets under mixed loads, which makes sense after inverter losses and fan draw. On DC-only use, USB and 12 volts, I've seen closer to 1150 to 1250 watt-hours. That's not unusual for this battery class. What can be annoying is the state of charge reading. A few times, it dropped oddly fast from around 30% to shut off, and once it shut down while still showing about 20% remaining. I did a full charge, a slow full discharge on a steady load, and another full charge cycle, and that recalibrated things for a while. But the gauge still isn't something I fully trust when I'm off-grid and trying to plan exact runtimes. If you're new to this, that percentage on the screen is an estimate, not a promise, and it can drift. The app is helpful when it wants to be. Bluetooth control lets me check watts in and out, battery percentage, and toggle AC/DC remotely. The range is fine in a campsite or around the house. However, the app has trouble staying connected during AC charging, and sometimes the time remaining display gets confused when both charging and discharging are happening. I wish I could manually set AC charge speed in the app to keep fan noise down at night. On the unit itself, the buttons work but occasionally require a firmer press or a second try to toggle AC. Not a deal breaker, just a minor annoyance. About battery chemistry, the S2000 uses a ternary lithium pack rather than LiFePO4. Ternary cells are lighter for the same capacity, which explains why this is fairly portable for 1500 hours. The trade-off is typically fewer total charge cycles compared to LiFePO4. The listing mentions 1000 plus cycles. I can't validate long-term cycle life yet. After 8 months with periodic use, capacity feels in the same ballpark, and I haven't noticed a big drop. I store it around 60% when not in use and avoid leaving it in a hot car, and that's kept it happy so far. Pass-through use has been practical for small loads. I kept my modem and router plugged in while the S2000 was charging from the wall, and when the power blinked, internet stayed up. When I tried the same setup with my desktop PC, it rebooted during one outage, which tells me the switchover isn't fast enough for some computers. It's fine as a basic bridge, but I wouldn't call it a dedicated UPS for sensitive gear. It's perfect for lights, networking gear, and phone charging during shaky power. Just don't rely on it to keep a workstation from restarting. As for solar, the wide voltage window is forgiving. I've run two 200 watts panels in series without worrying about overvoltage. Cloudy days cut my input in half, so I plan for extra time. From my experience, if you depend on solar alone, size the array generously and angle the panels right. A cheap tilt stand made a bigger difference than I expected. I did run into one hiccup where AC charging didn't start after a road trip. A long press on the main power and leaving it unplugged for a minute reset it, and it's been fine since. I contacted support out of caution. Response wasn't instant, but they got back to me in a couple of days with steps and an offer to replace if the issue returned. I kept the unit because the fix worked. In my opinion, the S2000 is a power-first box with speed-focused charging and a no-nonsense interface. It hits its rated wattage, charges fast with AC plus solar, and the port layout keeps everything tidy up front. The downsides are the fan noise, the so-so plastic feel, the occasionally stubborn buttons, and a battery gauge that needs recalibration now and then. If those quirks aren't a deal breaker, the performance is there. It's perfect for weekend camping, RV stops without hookups, job site tools for short bursts, and as a compact home backup for fridges, networking gear, lights, and small appliances. I used it to keep a fridge cold during a 2-hour outage and to power cooking gear on rainy camping days when a gas stove was less convenient. I'd recommend this for anyone who values high AC output and very fast top-off charging, and who can live with louder fans and a few software rough edges. If you need quiet operation in a bedroom, exact battery readings, or you're powering mission-critical gear that can't blink, you may want a different unit, ideally one with adjustable charge rates and a quieter cooling system. In conclusion, this is a strong performer with real muscle where it counts, wrapped in a body and software that feel a step behind its electrical hardware. For me, the blend works because I prioritize the high wattage and the speedy recharge. I keep it ventilated, charge it earlier in the evening to avoid fan noise at night, and I treat the battery gauge as a rough guide, not gospel. Used that way, it's been a reliable partner across 8 months. I will share detailed information about the All Powers S2000 portable power station in the comments section, everyone. Thank you for watching.